Yeah, I almost forgot to talk about this little set of tracks that came out too over the weekend. And let's talk about Jane Smith, and more specifically, three new songs off of this EP. Even though he's teasing it as like an album, but it's basically 2025, a surrealist ball of elephants reflecting swans. Now, this one is three songs, nothing short of brand spanking new. And I guess this is the follow up to last year's EP that he dropped with 2024, a case study of the long term effects of young love, which uh, while this EP was also pretty good in its eyes when it came out last year, I unfortunately wasn't a little too crazy about it at the time period because it just felt like another extension of what he just dropped prior, which was his last official release with Cool Taste Volume 3, the Day Trippers Edition. And like I said, 2024, a case study of the long term effects of young love. This four-track EP is just kind of like the same vibes, same aesthetics of like what you last heard from the Cool Tape album, but in a much more shorter, condensed form. So obviously, with Jane Smith, it's unknown at this point and unpredictable when this dude is going to be dropping a new project or anything new in general. Because after all, he's been super busy in fashion. He's been busy with his personal life. He's been busy with other entrepreneurships. That sometimes his music career has really been overshadowed. And it's pretty clear that since 2017, since he officially made his debut with the SYRE debut album, it's been pretty clear that Jane Smith has been a polarizing artist for the most part. Me, when I first heard this dude, and obviously for me growing up, knowing where Jane Smith came from, his background, I've always looked forward to what Jane Smith has to offer, what he has to bring to the table. So, with these three new songs that came out this past weekend, I went into these three songs thinking that it's going to be great, it's going to be back to business as usual because after all, it seemed like the first teaser from this song with Red Clothes featuring Rich the Kid was already geared to like him going back to his rap roots to what he left off with ERYS since he was really teasing hard that this is like the return of the ERYS and SYRE persona. And not gonna lie, I was hoping it would be there. And I'm not gonna lie when I say this, after listening to these three tracks, because there's only three tracks, I think it's pretty good. It's fine. It's passable. I don't know honestly if this is gonna translate to a full album cycle though, because it's really hard to tell and predict what Jane is going to do. But from what I can tell, it seems like if I have to be honest with you, we need another album, my dog. It's been super long. Again, his last official release of new big batch of songs was back in 2021. And if we're gonna count like official date like studio albums, it was back in 2020 with the Cool Taste Volume 3, as I mentioned already. So these three songs again are really short, really simple. They are rapidly rap all the way through. They have some really cool flows, really cool one-liners. The production is questionable at times as it feels it feels really expensive for the production for all three of these songs, but a lot of it just isn't like flowing super well, if that makes sense. But because again, I've heard Jaden Smith on better, more melodic tracks and on the tracks where he is rapping to his fullest content. I don't know. These three songs here in general just feel like a bit of an appetizer of what's to come. So I'm hoping Jane doesn't like hold us back on like a new album cycle because I still want to listen to what Jane has to say. I want to still listen to what he has to offer and see why he has the one of the most prevalent rap voices in his generation, of course. Because it's funny that like for someone that is in this music vein, it's kind of interesting that he hasn't really got the recognition that he truthfully deserved as of the past 5 years, honestly. Whereas her other sibling, Willow Smith, if everyone knows about Willow, she's grown and blown up to like crazy amounts of success in her musical genre lane, and she's been well regarded, well respected to the point that she has worked with so many big artists as a result. With Jane Smith, on the other hand, it's kind of the polar opposite, where he did have at one point was working with some pretty big names in the hip hop industry, but now it's like we don't really get to see much of that blossom because he's just been too focused on other things within his entrepreneurship and personal life. So again, just wanted to talk about these three songs and talk about how I feel about Jane Smith in general because I did with the Kali Uchis songs not that long ago, and I figured, hey, I might as well do a small, quick speedrun breakdown of how I feel about these three new songs from Jaden Smith. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. That's it. See you on the next one. Later.